It looks like I'm finally live. This is great. I tried to do this a couple weeks ago, and YouTube wouldn't let me. They told me I had to wait. So I waited. Here we finally are. Thank goodness. Finally, they're letting me go live. So it's been, goodness, about a year and a half, maybe more, since my last live stream. I had my live stream going on my other channel before it was hacked. Oh my goodness. I have forgotten how to do this. It's been so long. Let's see. Maybe this is how we do this. I can't remember. If anybody's here, if you can say hi, then maybe I can remember how to respond to the chat, because my gosh, it's been so long. You know how it is when it's been a long time since you've done anything, especially technically oriented. It takes a while for you to remember how to get things going. I can't figure this out. I remember years ago when I first started doing live streams, I had a hard time figuring out how to get to where I could see the messages. Oh, there's somebody. Oh, there's a couple people. Thank you for joining me. Great to see you here. I guess I did finally figure it out. I don't know if I'm getting any messages that you're sending me. Hi, David. Good to see you. So we've got David, Lancer, Rick, and Serotonin. I need my glasses for this. Serotonin Cowboy. Oh, I love that. Sounds like a happy cowboy. I like happiness, don't we all? We could all use some happiness right now with the way things are going. Thank you for joining me. I don't know if I can see where, if you're sending me messages, I am not getting them because I haven't figured. Oh, there we are. Oh, Serotonin Cowboy. Hello, beautiful, you said. Thank you. And yay, finally, Lancer. Yeah, my sentiments exactly. And I finally figured out how to see your messages. Thank you. Hi, David. Hi, Rich. Nice to see you. I'm doing okay, David. I'm still, recovering from that infection, but hopefully it's over because my antibiotics are gone. Oh, I'm so glad I'm coming through clearly, Angelo. Thank you for letting me know. Louis, nice to see you. Thanks for saying hello. Oh, gonna go eat dinner in a minute. I understand. Yeah, I haven't had my dinner yet either. I am just not hungry right now. I'd rather do this. You know me. I'm a late night person anyway. I'm a night owl, so I'll probably eat. Let's see. It's only 6:15 out here. I'll probably eat in a couple hours or so. Oh, David, that's sweet of you. Blessings to you, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Lancer. Thank you. I'm so glad I finally got it figured out, too. Yeah, it's been a while. It's good to be back. Good to be back. Oh, I'm so glad you like my movies, Michael. Thank you. I enjoyed making them. Some more than others, of course, depending on who I was working with and who was directing it and what the script was about, that kind of thing. But yeah, Tennessee, nice. Way back in my old stomping grounds. I'm originally from southern Indiana, not too far from you, your friendly neighbor to the north. I used to go down there all the time to Nashville, danced in a club down there. Oh, thank you, David. I'm so glad you like all my videos. I've been doing a lot of the music videos lately, haven't I? My friend Jerry has been sending me a lot of his old music, and I've been putting videos to those. That's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing that. Having a little fruit smoothie while we talk, that will tide me over until dinner. Hey, Doug, you made it. That's wonderful. Glad you could make it. Thank you. It sounds like you had a good day today at the party with the kids. That's awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun. It was nice here today. Hot. It was in the 80s. So I worked out in the yard a little bit, planted some snapdragons, and sat out in the sun for a little bit, got some vitamin D. That was nice. Oh, thank you. Thank you, David. Yeah, Jerry moved just like I did a little over a year ago. And you know how it is when you move, you find things that you'd forgotten you had. And some of the things that he found were some old recordings from his bands that he had done years ago. So he hired me to do music videos for those, and that's always fun. Yeah, I'm getting a little color, especially in my chest. I've got a nice little tan line going. It was good. It was very good. At least it's not too hot yet. You know, last year it got up to 116 here. So I anticipate another hot one, but right now it's pretty nice. 45 there in Jersey. Yeah, we are lucky. I'm even running the air conditioning right now. Yeah. Yeah, my Roland in the background, my keyboard. Yeah. I need to start playing again. I haven't touched it in a while. I need to get my chops back up. You just watched my video about the two nudist clubs in Indiana. Thank you for watching that. Yeah, I was surprised when I found out that, first of all, there were that many nudist camps in Indiana, of all places, but that they were competing and so close to each other. When you think about it being out in the middle of a rural area like Roselawn, Indiana, it blows my mind that there are nudist camps there. But then when you think about the proximity to Chicago, it starts to make a little more sense. It was in the mid 40s and rainy in the Inland Pacific Northwest. You get used to the cold weather over time. Yeah, I hear you. You know, I was born and raised in Indiana, in Indianapolis. We get some very nasty winters there. I remember one winter in particular when it was 22 degrees below zero, not wind chill, actual 22 degrees below. And then my sophomore or junior year in high school, we had the blizzard of 76, I think it was. Yeah, it was notorious. Well, thank you. Thank you, Zeke. I appreciate that. I'm feeling a little better, a little bit more energized. I'm still fighting, my chronic conditions and, an infection, but I am doing better. Thanks. Randy West and Barbara Dare. Yeah, Barbara did have some interesting hair. Yeah. She's a nice girl. She was very sweet. I enjoyed working with her. Yeah, swingers clubs in uptight Mormon Utah. That's not surprising, really. They say that the Bible Belt is the biggest consumer of porn. I remember Harry Money, who owned Caribbean Films. He always said that he wished they would bust him back to the 70s because the stricter they were on porn and what you could do, the more money he would make. And that kind of stands to reason. If you take something natural like sex and you limit how much people can see it or enjoy it, you create a market for it. So the more you say, no, that's nasty, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, the more in demand it will be. And that's why there is such a demand in the Bible Belt. I remember when I was on the road dancing, I spent most of my time, in the Bible Belt dancing in gentlemen's clubs. Yeah. The Robin Bird video, you like that one? Yeah, it's Manhattan Channel J. Yeah, baby, let me bang your box. She was sweet. She was so nice to work with and be on shows with. She was great. I think those nudist camps, well, I think they do still exist. Ponderosa, I know for sure does. And the other one, which was called Naked City, it has new ownership now, but it's still there, I believe. Because I did some research when I was doing my video, to get some B-roll, and I found that out. So yeah, I think they're still there. 77, 78, was that the blizzard? Because I know the school was closed and we had no heat in the house. It was miserable. Yeah. Oh, see you, Dohitsu Guillermo. Good to see you. Thank you, darling. Erica Boyer was wonderful. I loved her. I would have loved to hang out with her. But the thing is, all these other actors and actresses, they all lived in California, and I lived in Indiana. So I flew out and I did 2 movies a year with Caribbean Films. I never really did much more than 2 movies a year. And then I'd fly back to Indiana, and then I'd go out on the road dancing, at the Gentlemen's Club. So I never really had a chance to hang out with anybody, unfortunately. Very few opportunities to hang out with people. And I was having kids and I was really into raising my kids. So my interests were a little different than a lot of people in the business. Like, to me, hanging out would have been, let's go have a picnic at the park with the kids. And theirs would have been, let's go have an orgy. Malaysia. Wow, I'm impressed. That is really cool. That's cool. I would love to get over there someday. I've been to Guam and Hawaii, Australia, and New Zealand, but I'd love to go to like Thailand and Micronesia and all those beautiful tropical places. No, I haven't had a chance to meet those people, David. I do like Deep Purple though, but I've never met them. Yeah. One of your friends back inland is a divorce attorney, makes a killing in the most conservative county in the state. He's so busy, he has to have 2 associates last year to handle the caseload. My goodness! I'm not surprised. Again, the more you tell somebody you can't do something, the more they're going to want to do it, Yeah. I remind you of Nina. Oh, I can't see that without my glasses. Nina Laho. Oh, I can't pronounce that. She did some videos spending time with the locals in El Salvador. She also found a Mexican partner, but recently discontinued YouTube for now. Oh, she's a Japanese YouTuber. Oh, I'm glad I didn't try to pronounce that. I would have butchered it. I was going to put, a Latina flair on it, and that wouldn't have worked. I miss Ponderosa, the restaurant. Yeah, that restaurant was something. Everybody sitting around eating in the nude. That was fun. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Top 3 women that I've worked with. That's a hard one to choose. Mei Lin, I loved working with her. She was near retirement, and I specifically wanted to work with her. So I wrote a scene just for her so that we could do one together. But she was marvelous. Nina was great before we had our big falling out, which you probably heard about on my YouTube video. Colleen Brennan. Colleen Brennan was great. I liked working with her. She was very nice. Yeah, Erica Boyer was marvelous. You had a horrible snowstorm in high school in North Georgia. Oh, I bet that was bad you probably didn't have snowplows and stuff in Georgia, did you? At least in Indiana, we were prepared. Half an inch of ice over things. See, that's what happened with ours. The blizzard of 70, whatever it was, it started with an ice storm. We had the freezing rain. and the rain coated all of the electrical wires and the trees. They got soaked, and then it froze. So we had like a quarter to a half an inch of ice all the way around all the branches, and they got real heavy and they broke and they fell onto the power lines, and all the power was down, and it was just terrible. Yeah. Oh, you like the encouraging videos? Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to be doing more of those. I've got some more written. I just haven't been able to shoot. My health is such a challenge. Did my ex-husbands ever apologize for being assholes? Well, I wish. My second ex-husband particularly, I don't think he'll ever have the, let's face it, mental maturity to apologize. The first one, he goes in and out of sanity. I mean, he called me one time and said I did a great job raising the kids and that I was a wonderful mother. And then like 3 days later, he called me back and told me I was horrible, just raked me over the coals. So I never quite know what to expect from him. And at my oldest son's wedding, he was very nice. We sat at the same table. We got along marvelously. About 3 weeks later, he sends me a text about what a horrible person I am. And in between times, we had not had any communication at all whatsoever. So it's not like I did something to set him off. So I just never know. So now when somebody apologizes, when one of them, and it's always going to be the first one, the second one, he never will. If they ever apologize, I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt and smile and say, well, thank you, and be grateful for the moment because you never know what's going to happen the next day. You remember Geraldo? Yes. Oh, you're anchored off of St. Mary, Georgia right now? Wow. Are you in the Navy? My grandfather was in the Navy. When was the last time I visited Cherokee, North Carolina? Oh, it's been about 15 years at least. My mom lives right outside of there. So, yeah, I can't travel right now with my health problems. Hi, kitty. How you doing, baby? But yeah, I hear about what's going on back home all the time through her. Did I and Asia Carrera ever interact? Yes. Asia was my first husband's third wife. I was his second wife. So yeah, we interacted quite a bit. I would come over to get the kids because Bud would have the kids. Excuse me. And she would be there. Or Bud would come to get the kids and have her with him. So there were several times, where we'd interact in our private life. And we always got along fine, We really didn't talk much to each other. It was just kind of like seeing each other in passing, saying, hi, how are you? And fine, how are you? And that's about it. Yeah. Some of the Japanese have maternal ancestors related to Polynesians, Hawaiians, Southeast Asians, and some Mexican populations, as well as other Native American populations. Yes, there's a lot of similarities. I was amazed when I went to Guam to find out some of the Chamorro words were very similar to the Cherokee language. And if you listen to what the ancestors say, the standard thing is that we came across on the Bering Strait, the Bering Land Bridge. But the ancestors' stories say that we came here by boat. Excuse me. It became by boat. So if you think of that and the Polynesians, the Hawaiians, the Japanese, all seafaring people, it kind of makes sense that we would be related. I think I should have chosen something Not as thick as this, oh, smoothie. Oh, yeah, Steve Lukather was great. I was so honored to work with him. Such a talented musician. Yeah. You were at the Garter the night the storm came in, really? The Red Garter in Indianapolis, Indiana? That is amazing. Now, at that time, I was too young to work there, but that was one of the first gentlemen's clubs I ever worked at. And, I tried different places around Indianapolis, but I always came back to the Red Garter. And I started there basically because one of the girls I did theater with, Stormy Shea, she worked at the Black Curtain Dinner Theater with Randy Galvin, which that's what I did too. And once I got out of high school and I got to know her and went to see her dance, I thought, this is good, because she was good. She was a nice friend. She kind of took me under her wing, and it was good to work with somebody that you knew and could kind of keep an eye out for you and say, don't talk to that guy, he's a jerk, or something like that, or you can trust this person, they're cool. You have a 46-foot motor yacht. Well, that sounds like fun. Sounds like jealousy. It could be, yeah. I think Bud's problem, my first husband, was that he really didn't want to work. And I enjoyed acting, I enjoyed dancing. And as long as I was willing to do that and bring home the money, he was more than willing to sit back and help me count it, and not really have to do anything on his own. But as soon as I had the 2 kids and I wasn't going to put up with the bullshit that Paul Thomas and Steve Hirsch at Vivid Video were throwing at me, and I didn't want to do that anymore. And I said, we've been married for 12 years. It's time for you to get a job, honey. Then all hell broke loose. Do you like women outside of your previous profession? Sexually, I've experimented with women when I was younger, but it's really not my preference. My mother is gay, though, so I'm very supportive of the LGBTQ community. Also coming from theater, because I did 72 different plays and musicals before I graduated from high school. And this was in community theater, civic theater, dinner theater. I did commercials for like Pizza Hut, Noble Romans, Coachman Recreational Vehicles, radio station WSAI in Cincinnati. I was really into theater. So a lot of people in the theater are gay. And that's kind of who I grew up in my teenage years, and I made great friends, lasting relationships with some of these people. One of my best friends in high school, who I also did theater in the community with, is an agent for opera singers, and he books singers into the New York Metropolitan Opera. So, and one of my colleagues from theater went on to star in Cats on Broadway, in the original Broadway production. Yeah. Oh, Rami, thank you. I'm so glad you like my channel. Well, thank you for, oh, my brother, thank you. Oh, thank you. Aren't you so sweet? Thank you. Oh, it's so good to see you. Please call me sometime. I would love to catch up with how you and the rest of the family are doing. Yeah, I've got my health issues and they're perpetual and there's no cure, but I'm still hanging in there, still fighting, still having good days. So good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate that very much. Yeah. Did I ever do a scene with Jewel Diamond or Gina Fine? No, I'm afraid I did not, dear. No. The Arctic emerald populations, not only the Inuit, but there's a lot of words I can't read without my glasses. Pretty much came over the Bering Strait when when the ice had melted. It could be Stormy Shay. Do you remember Stormy Shay, Zeke? She was at the Red Garter a lot. You saw me there several times? That's cool. Did I ever hang out with Eddie Van Halen? Well, hi, kitty. That's it. Show everybody you're behind. That's what they came to see. You know how cats are. Yeah, Steve Lukather. We go, occasionally to get something to eat, and they, the guys in the band, they were drinkers. They always wanted to go to like the Rainbow or someplace that had alcohol. I don't drink, so that wasn't really something I was into. But yeah, after rehearsals and stuff, and after playing out, we'd always go hang out. Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah. What is your favorite songs to dance to at the Gentlemen's Club? There were a lot of how can I remember? Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, of course. Welcome to the Jungle was fun. Pour Some Sugar on Me. Def Leppard. I love Def Leppard. Love Def Leppard. YouTube. You too. I'm so used to saying YouTube. YouTube with Bono and The Edge. I love their stuff. So I danced to that. Seal. Crazy. I love the song Crazy. Kiss from a Rose. Yeah. Oh, I loved music. Love dancing to that stuff. Do you remember any gentlemen's clubs you worked at in the Boston area? Well, in Worcester, I think there was the Fuzzy Grape. What happens to your grapes when you leave them in the refrigerator too long? You get a fuzzy grape. I had some of those the other day. I was thinking about the fuzzy grape. Gosh, where else in the Boston area? Didn't really work in Boston per se, just like in Worcester. Hi, baby. Yes, my sweet little loving kitty. Have you ever been to any book signings when you wrote your book in bookstores? Yes, I did. I did do some book signings. Yeah. It's been a while because my memoirs, my autobiography, that came out, oh gosh, it's been almost 25 years now. Yeah, it's been a while. Did you hear about Val Kilmer? I did. Oh, it's always so sad when you lose someone so talented. Thank you, David. It's really not hard to not drink for me because I just don't like the taste of alcohol at all. I mean, I don't care what you give me. First of all, red wine gives me a headache every time, just a few sips. White wine, I can kind of take, but I just don't like the taste. And if you're going to get to hard alcohol, I can't stand it. I can't stand the taste. Even to have like ice cream and cream de cocoa and maybe some Kahlua, I can't stand the taste. I just don't like the taste of it. And then you get to the effect of it. I don't like the effect. I don't like to not be in control of my senses and of whatever everything's going on. I'm kind of a control freak, I want to have all my senses about me. You are such a loving honey. Yes, you are. She's a good little kitty. This is my Luna. My little Luna. She came with me from Colorado. I'm one of the only ladies from the golden age you can remember. Desiree Cousteau and Seika. Oh, you want to play with the earrings, huh? Yeah, Desiree Cousteau, she was something, huh? I never got to meet her. She had left before I got into the business. But Seika, oh, yeah, I got to meet her. She's stunningly beautiful. An amazingly beautiful woman. Oh, yes, I love exotic men. I prefer exotic men. Okay, Okay, looks like you have to step away for a while. You may not be back. I understand. Nice of you to check in with me, though, honey. Thank you for stopping by. I had great musical taste. Oh, God, love you. Thank you. Thank you, honey. I always had so much fun dancing. I always liked to pick the popular songs, first of all, because they were good. And secondly, because it got the audience excited. And it got me excited. You know, if the music is good, it was like the music was playing my body, and my body was just moving around on stage to the music. You know, oh, I love dogs. Before I had kids that traveled on the road with me, I traveled on the road with 2 Siberian Huskies, and they had puppies on the road a couple of times. And then I had German Shepherds. I had 3 black German Shepherds. This was not on the road. They stayed at home. And I had horses and rabbits and lots of kitties. I love all animals. You can't show me an animal I don't like. Well, okay, insects. Those aren't really animals. Those are insects. I don't care for too many insects. Yes, you're going to have to leave my earring alone, sweetie. Kitty does love mommy. She is such a loving little thing. She is so sweet. Yeah. I'm going to have to put you down if you're going to keep that up. We can't do that. Yeah. I did not meet John Holmes, but I saw him at a convention in Las Vegas, a Consumer Electronics Show convention. He was wearing a shirt that said, "It's not me" on the front, and on the back it said, "He's taller." No, he wasn't presumptuous. Yeah. Let's see. You're a short, pudgy Dutchman. Balding and glasses, nothing exotic here. Well, you know what? My first husband was part Scottish. My second one, I think he's mostly English, like from England, but a little Iroquois. So even though my eyes might prefer some exotic eye candy, I tend to end up with the same old white bread, you know. Butterflies. Oh my God, I love butterflies. I used to have a butterfly collection. In southern Indiana, there's all kinds of beautiful butterflies. I am the kind of person that will stop if I see a bunch of butterflies in mass on the side of the road and, you know, see if any of them have passed away that I can take their carcass home to my collection. Yeah, I love butterflies. Those are an exception to the I don't like insects rule. San Antonio. Yes, I danced in San Antonio. Danced in Houston, Corpus Christi, Amarillo, Dallas. I danced in Fort Worth one week. Oh, I think most of the people in the audience were undercover cops that week. Yeah, that was an interesting week. Snakes. I like some snakes. You know, some snakes are okay. I would not care to have one as a pet necessarily. Rats. Ugh. Was I straight edge all your life? I was a goody two shoes. That's what they used to call me in school. Girls wanted to beat me up for using $1,000,000 words. And I graduated high school a year early. I got straight A's. Yeah. I was straight edge. Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. You like mature women who take care of themselves. Well, I try. I try. I have a lot of health conditions. And you know that prompts you to take care of what health you have left, you know, to eat right, to try to stay on a good exercise regimen. Orlando, Florida. Hello, Joe. How are you? I'm decolonizing one man at a time. Yes. Have Have I seen AC/DC recently on YouTube? No. Angus Young, the youngest member, looks the oldest. Oh my gosh. Well, I got to tell you, seriously, because I traveled on the road to go to gentlemen's clubs, right? And that was a different city every week. And I was usually on the road 3 weeks out of a month, average, sometimes more, sometimes less. Then I also traveled with my bands. I had a band that was based out of LA and a band that was based out of Indiana, so that I could travel the East Coast with the band from Indiana and the West Coast with the band from California. And with those bands, you're in a different city every night. So the wear and tear on the body and the mind is tremendous. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I said, I'm going to have to quit because, going to a different city once a week, that's hard enough. But a different place every night, and then sound check and do the show, and then get in the bus and go to the next place. It was exhausting. Then you've got these people that are into the drugs, and you can see why they feel as though they have a need for drugs, because they got to go to a different city every night. So you're trying to stay up to perform, and then you know that your time down is limited, so you're trying to come down so you can sleep. I'm not saying that drugs are the way to go. Don't misunderstand me. They are not. But I can see the temptation. I don't drink coffee. I've never been a coffee drinker. If I were so inclined, I would have wanted to drink espressos before a show, and then severe doses of chamomile tea to come down afterwards, or valerian root would probably be better, but you'd want that in a pill because it tastes terrible and smells horrible. But no, I couldn't do it. So I think a lot of these rock and rollers, they look so old because the road really takes it out on them. And if the road doesn't take it out on them, the lifestyle will, and the two in combination together. I don't know how the Rolling Stones are still going. I don't know how Keith Richards is still standing. I don't get it. More power to them. Any thoughts on Jenna Jameson? She and I hung out for a little bit for a while. She seemed to be like a very nice, intelligent person back then. This was right around the time I was divorcing Bud. And she and I went clubbing a couple nights. I didn't really drink, but I wanted to get out. I was going through so much BS, trying to get away from the business, trying to get away from my husband. And it was just nice to have somebody to talk to and to hang with, even if all I was doing was drinking Diet Cokes, which thankfully I've eventually got off of those too. You're going to have been married 35 years next month. Yes, I would say you're doing something right. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Oh, that's nice of you, Rich. Thank you. I was like Lisa Simpson, kind of. Yeah. But hang out. Hey, Allison. Oh, it's good to see you. Yeah. Thank you for joining me, dear. Yeah, kind of like Lisa Simpson, but doing a lot of theater. I'd come home from school, take a quick nap, go hang out with the theater people. Your elementary and junior high school years, huh? Asking you to do their homework for them. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to make friends, right? Cree, nice to meet you. Tito, thank you for joining me. I think you joined me last time when I was having my live streams, didn't you? Your name seems familiar. Maybe it's another Tito. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. You did the band thing for 8 years out of New York City. Yeah, you do it for the love of doing it. Exactly. And I did love doing it. I love music. I've loved music all my life. I mean, I started playing violin when I was 9. Here's the goody two-shoes thing. I was dancing ballet and playing violin, and then I picked up the piano and started learning keyboard. Oh, thank you, sweetie. I love your hearts. And one thing led to another. I got involved in theater and started to do a few operas even. I was classically trained vocalist. And yeah, I don't know where I started with that. Oh, doing it for the love of doing it. That's right. So I did it for the love of doing it. And I love doing other people's music. My first album was all covers. I didn't know how to write music. And then the more I learned to play the piano, the more I learned music theory and the more I could hear songs and catch songs in the wind, as we say. So I had a few songs in my back pocket, and I thought this would be fun to have some other musicians kind of help me bring these to life. One thing led to another, and that's how I got involved with the band. Like you said, for the love of it. Mick Jagger takes care of himself now, and he looks better than Keith Richards, who are the same age. Yeah, I think it really shows when you do take the time to take care of yourself. It's not easy. It's a change in lifestyle, It's adopting a new way to live, a new way to eat, the exercise, the focus on health instead of the focus on partying. I think it was easy for me since I don't like alcohol. Thank you, Allison. Bless your heart. And thanks for the flowers. That's so sweet. I had been trying to do this live stream for months. I have wanted to do it for months. And one thing after another, whether it's the shingles or the cataract surgery or, the UTI, another adrenal crisis, whatever's going on this week, and YouTube won't let me because I got to wait a week. There's always something. Murphy's Law, Murphy lives with me. I tried to leave him in Colorado, but he's stowaway. So yeah, there's always something. But I've been trying to do this for a while. I'm very glad that we finally got it. It finally worked. Yeah. And I'm so glad you could join me. Hey there, hello, kitty. Nice to see you. My kitty was just up here. I've still got cat hairs. You know how it is. Did I go to my high school prom? No, I was not asked to my high school prom. I was not popular. Nobody even knew who I was. When I went to my high school reunion, there were only 2 people there that recognized me, other than the teachers. Yeah. I did go to a prom because one of the guys that I was doing theater with, his father was the director of Civic Theater, and he was also in theater. And his father was Chippewa, and he had played the part of Yellow Feather in Mary Sunshine. And I just thought he was so handsome. And I loved his dad. His dad was like a second father to me. He was so sweet. And his son asked me to go to his prom. So I did go to his prom, which was nice, but that wasn't at my school. Yeah. Oh, I love the flower or the hearts. Thank you. You know what's funny? Years later, after I got into movies and stuff, I was signing autographs in theaters up and down the California coast as my first movie was coming out. And I was down in Southern California, right by the Marine base. And I'm sitting there with my pictures. And there's this line of guys, getting my autograph. So I'm like, hi, what's your name? And he tells me, sign a name. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Hi, what's your name? He goes, Tony, and you should know that since I took you to the prom. I jumped up and hugged him. Oh, it was so good to see him. He was a Marine at the time. So, yeah, he was a great guy. I would love to get back in touch with him. It's been too long. Yeah. Louisiana. Yes, I danced on Bourbon Street once long ago. Yeah, that's the only time I was ever in Louisiana. I do Reddit occasionally. Is that what that says? I need glasses. Do you read? Yes, I do read. I like to read things on quantum physics, wormhole effects, stuff like that. Things about brainwaves, scientific breakthroughs. Um, yeah, philosophy. Yeah. One of my favorite authors is Vine Deloria Jr. He's Native American. I'd have to say one of my favorite books is God is Red, R-E-D, God is Red. So if you get a chance, read that. Custer Died for Your Sins. That's another great one. What do I drive? I drive a Kia. It's economical. Miami. How are you doing? My mom's heading down to Fort Myers as we speak. I used to live in Fort Myers. Yeah. Favorite movie? Favorite movie is probably V for Vendetta. Yeah. Voila. In view. A humble vaudevillian servant, cast vicariously as both victim and villain. I love his first line. I love how everything he says is with V. Great movie. Uncle German in Cherokee, North Carolina reminded me of Cherokee Elder when he was scared of death with the saying, "We don't die, for we go on through DNA migration mapping." All those healthy killers. I love it. Oh, thank you, Cal. Thank you, Guillermo. I will be doing more live streams if my health permits. I would love to do one every week, every Saturday evening. That would be my goal. But sometimes my body has other plans. I'm just along for the ride. You know how that is. But I'll do the best I can. What do I think about alchemy? I'm very interested in that. I don't think it's really possible to turn other substances into gold in the traditional sense, but I'm very much into traditional healing. And one of my teachers was Gladys Tantagwidian, whose brother Harold was the last chief of the Mohicans. And she taught me about herbal healing. And then, of course, I've read lots of other books as well. And there were other people at the Lost River Band of the Cherokees who taught me about herbs and plants that were more familiar to that area. I'm having a difficult time out here in California now because things that I used to use back in Indiana to treat certain ailments and maladies don't grow out here. So I have to either find a source online, which is fine, but it's not as good as going out into your backyard and picking it, you know. So I do hope to do more shows. Keeping up with Cochise? Oh, yes. You know it, Aries, always. Yeah, he and the kids were just out here a couple weeks ago. It was so nice to see them. Yeah. The latest book would you recommend, aside from the ones I mentioned? Voices of Our Ancestors by Dhyani Yawahu. It's a hard author's name, I know. But Voices of Our Ancestors. And she's Cherokee, and she writes kind of as a Buddhist. She has been trained in Buddhist philosophy as well. And she makes the connection between the Cherokee and Buddhist philosophies, which I find fascinating. She talks a lot about scarcity mind, which I think is very relevant nowadays. A lot of us are in survival mode. I know I am, particularly with what I see on the news. I'm frightened am I going to have enough? Am I going to have enough food? Am I going to be able to afford the groceries? Am I going to be able to afford gas? Are they going to cut off my Social Security? This leads us to scarcity mind. But Voices of Our Ancestors is not a new book. It's been out for decades, but I highly recommend it. It's one of those books where you have to read a few sentences and then put it down and think. Yeah, I see what she's saying. That rings true. Or I don't get it. Or, all right, whatever, let's go on. It's very thought-provoking. It's not a quick, easy read, but it'll get you thinking. in ways you may never have thought before. Yes, Mick Jagger will still be on stage if he has to use a walker. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He'll outlive us all. Whatever happened to adult star Dana Lynn? I don't know, honey. I don't know her. Yeah. Thank you, Aries. That is so sweet of you, darling brother. Yeah, it's very nice to spend time with Cochise. Whenever I can spend time with him, my daughter-in-law, the grandkids, I'm very grateful. Yeah. You know, they live like 4.5 hours away. And with two young kids and his high pressure job, it's not easy for them to get over here and see me. And it's almost impossible for me with my health conditions and everything to drive that far to see them. But it really is nice when they make the effort and can come out and see me. My philosophy in a nutshell. Well, I'm a traditional Native American, a Native American traditionalist. I would say it's more stoicism is probably the best way to describe it. Stoicism. You know, you do the best you can with what you're dealt, and try to look on the bright side. Try to find beauty every day. I truly believe the medicine wheel teachings are the key to the mental health crisis we have in the world today. If more people could learn how to communicate with their inner elders and inner children in particular. I mean, we talk with our inner adults a lot. We're always hearing, you should have done this. You forgot to do that. Why didn't you stop at the grocery and get this and you forgot that? We need to shut that up and start listening to the inner elders and children in our brains. The inner elders who can say, sweetheart, get off your ass. You're doing a damn good job. You don't need to beat yourself up over the little things. So what if you forgot the bread at the store? Who cares? The world will not fall apart. You worked your butt off today. You need to sit down, relax, and take it easy. And honor our inner children who might say, you know, I just want to sit outside and watch the pretty sunset. I really don't want to clean the kitchen right now. And say, okay, sunset's going to be gone in a minute. The kitchen will wait. It'll still be there. The dishes aren't going to walk away. Go enjoy the sunset. You know, I think too many of us are our own worst enemy. Everything our caregivers, our image makers have told us as we were growing up about you're always slow, or you always harp on the wrong thing, or you never do this right, or you never do that. All of those internal tapes, we replay them again and again in our mind. And that does us more harm than good. No good can come from beating ourselves up with all of this toxic internal dialogue. You know what I mean? Instead, we need to be our biggest cheerleaders. We need to be our biggest supporters. Nobody had a perfect parent. Nobody had a perfect childhood. There isn't an adult on earth who was given the playbook as to how to be a perfect parent to their child. There is an adult on earth who had a perfect parent to set an example for them. So we're all winging it. And our parents, as try as the best that they did, there's no way they were perfect. And some of that toxicity that they inherited from their parents who said toxic things to them, when similar situations arose, when we were children, they resorted back to saying the things that their parents had told them because they didn't know any better. They didn't know what else to say. So they said things like, I'll wash your mouth out with soap, or whatever the catchphrase was in your family. That's what they regurgitated because they didn't have anything else. They didn't have any tools in their toolbox other than that. And that's what we have. So we hear that over and over again in our head. And whenever we make a similar mistake, our internal dialogue jumps to that. But that's not our inner elders. That's our fear feeder voices. Those are the voices that feed on our fears. And our fear is of being judged, like we were judged when we were children, and feeling like a failed child that has disappointed their parent. Because after all, that's why our parent is saying these things to us that we keep hearing, because we've disappointed them. And we feel bad about that. Nobody wants to feel like that. So we got to shut that up by being the best parent that we can be to ourselves right here, right now, in the here and now, and moving forward and not repeating all those toxic tapes in our head. Thank you, Tito. Thank you. Yes, I have been out of the adult business for a long time. I really don't know what's going on in that business. I left in 1991. So, yeah, it's been like 35 years now. Yeah, I really don't know what's going on in that business. It's changed so much. I mean, I remember when they started shooting on video, and we weren't shooting on 35 millimeter Panavision anymore. And the budgets went from, 180,000, 220,000 down to 15, 20,000. And now I'm sure they're even lower than that. So I don't know. Janine Lindemoor, I'm not sure what happened to her. Carlos Castaneda and Don Juan. I saw that somewhere in there. Oh, there we go. I think our world might be a native spell. Yeah, this is just a dream. It's a dream from which we all must wake before we can dream again. Life is a dream. Remember that life is but a dream. There's some truth in that, On the other side is when we plan what we will do in our next life. And then we come to this life and we experience it. And hopefully we learn and we grow. And then we wake up from this dream and we process everything we learned. And we write a new life that needs to be lived. And we plan the lessons that we will learn in our next life and the souls that we will interact with. And then we are born again to try it again, to learn some more. She's escorting in Oregon. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, those boarding schools were pretty atrocious. Yeah. Am I religious? I am deeply spiritual. I'm a blessed woman. I was elected to the position, blessed woman, for the Lost River Band of the Cherokees. I've studied with medicine men and women. I've been taught how to run sweat lodges. I'm a pipe carrier. So yes, I am a spiritual leader in the culture. Yeah. But if you're talking about, am I religious in the sense of the religions from the Middle East? No, I do not follow any religions from the Middle East. I hope that explains it. Let's see. I'm going to have to get my glasses. My eyes are starting to get tired. So a reconciliation video between the Inuit and the Cree. They also mentioned the Aleuts. Some of the Mexicans asked me why I feel so connected to the Japanese. I tell them the migration. I can understand that completely. You leave these wonderful comments all about the DNA and the history. It is so fascinating. I invite any of you to check out his comments on some of my videos. They are very thoughtful and very, very precise, very thought out, very scholarly, very educational. I learn a lot. I appreciate your comments immensely. Yeah. There's a heaven and a hell. Yes, I agree. And we make our own heaven and hell, just as in the Christian religions, you make your own heaven and hell too, So whatever you do comes back to bite you in the ass. If it's bad, there's a saying, whatever good you do to me, 3 times that good returned to thee. Whatever bad you do to me, 3 times that bad returned to thee. And part of our internal dialogue with our fear feeder voices is living that hell on earth. We put ourselves through that hell on earth. We beat ourselves up for things we have done in the past. I was doing this to myself the other night, and I had to say to myself, now look, that happened years ago. You feel so bad about it. You're still beating yourself up for it. Can you change it? No. Can you go back in the past and make it not happen? No, of course not. Can you rectify the problem now? No, because the things that were involved are all gone. They're dead. They're past. It can't be changed. So why in the name of whatever, Great Spirit, am I beating myself up for this? No good can come from this. It's a waste of time and energy. And to put it bluntly, with my medical condition, cortisol that I don't have. So why am I doing this? Stop it. Just stop it. Forgive yourself for things that you already now know better than to do again. I know better than to do that. If that situation was presented to me today, I would not act in that way. So I learned my lesson. So why beat myself up about it? Nobody else is beating me up. Nobody else even knew it happened. But I'm beating myself up over it. And that is such a waste of time and energy. And it's just plain toxic. Okay. Let's see. The Bible works for you. Cool. For Native people, the Bible was forced on us. Thank you, Tito. Exactly. Exactly. You sit there and you say, I'm taking your land and I'm killing you if you don't convert to Christianity. And then you give us a Bible that says, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. It's really hard to take you people seriously. Can you see why? You steal children as young as 4 years old and put them in handcuffs, taking them away from their family and taking them to a boarding school thousands of miles away, where you tell them they cannot speak their language. They don't know any other language. They're 4 years old. And you beat them so severely that more children are buried in unmarked graves in those residential schools, which were ran by the government and the church, than ever graduated. And you want us to convert to your religion? I will convert to a religion whose followers show me by example a great way to live. If they can show me their compassion and their kindness, their generosity in how they act, and not just a bunch of words, then I'm more inclined to follow them. But when it's empty words, I'm sorry, I don't give that religion much credence. It hasn't proven itself because its followers are such bad examples. I'm sorry. Okay, let's see. There are native street gangs in Canada. Yes, I'm sure there's native street gangs down here too, honey. People who are desperate and don't know better, when we don't have any other tools to get our needs met, we turn to bad things. When you went to Tokyo and Kyoto several years ago for a week, you felt embraced by the Japanese. How cool. You got to go. Okay, Kevin, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate you subscribing to my channel, too. That doesn't mean the Bible isn't true. As soon as you can show me some proof, I would be more inclined to believe you. But I do have to say, a lot of historians, scholarly historians, who really started out wanting to prove this was all true, have found no scientific or historical fact that these things actually happened. And if they did, that's fine. That's one thing. But I tell you, the biggest stumbling block I have that will mean I'm sorry, never be able to accept Christianity or Judaism or Islam. I can't accept any of those religions because of the patriarchy. My people are matriarchal. I'm not saying matriarchal is the way to go, but it's certainly not patriarchy. Your patriarchal religion has bought slavery, sex slavery, the subjugation of women. There are people who don't even believe women are humans. The abuse of women by people who call themselves religious, who believe in your hell, is just off the charts. And personally, I think it's because it preaches that sex is sinful and that women are to be subjugated. You're teaching that you're to be in control of nature, that you're better than nature, that all of nature is put here for you and your disposal to be used as you see fit. It's as if these poor animals, my cat is sitting right here, that they don't have a soul, that they don't have freedom, that they don't have the right to exist and the right to be happy because they're just here for us. That's a very selfish, narrow-minded philosophy. My people believe we can learn from the animals and that there are many lessons to be learned from these creatures. And when we study them, when we watch them, watch their behavior, we learn, we advance. So, yeah, the Bible might be true for you, honey, but it's not true for me. And as Pierce rejected nearly all of it back in those days. Man, how do you know that Christianity isn't the product of your great spirit? We were here first. Curious if those people on here know you're 64. Thank you. You know, I was just thinking I'm going to be 65 in November. Yeah. And you know that song, Will You Still Need Me? Will You Still Feed Me when I'm 64? Oh, thank you, Allison. Love you, sister. Oh, yes, yes. The Val Kilmer Doors movie. I love that movie. And when he was on stage and the native would come on in the regalia and dance with him while he was singing. Oh, yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. The cat's name is Luna. Yeah, that's my little Luna. Would I have ever considered doing Trump in his younger days? No way in hell. No way in hell. No way in hell. That man has never been attractive to me at any stage in his life. The arrogance, the misogyny, just opening his mouth would have, that's the end. We're done. I like the nice guys, the kind, compassionate, quiet, artsy kind of guys, not the braggadocious, arrogant guys. Yeah. Oh, aren't you sweet, Art? Art Bell. You don't have a show about aliens, do you? Oh, I like that, MV. You are so right. Prayer is like masturbation. It feels really good to the person doing it, but it doesn't do a damn thing for anybody else. Oh, I love it. Can I name any famous people I've met? Sure. Isaac Hayes. I loved that. I did a radio station show called Man Cow in the Morning in Chicago to promote a personal appearance I was doing at a gentleman's club, and he was promoting something there as well. I don't know why my camera is all of a sudden screwy. Interesting. There we go. Anyway, he was redoing the theme from Shaft, and I got to sing with him. Shut your mouth, you know. Oh, that was so much fun. Tommy Chong, I've met several times. I wrote for High Times magazine for 5 years, and that's when I met him the second time. The first time was doing the Man Cow radio show again in Chicago, because I was always working in Chicago, and he was doing a comedian thing, a stand-up. That's what I'm trying to say, stand-up show later that night. So we got free tickets to see his show. And of course, we did the radio show together. And my husband, second husband, who was the guitar player at the time, he helped him set up because he did some guitar playing in his show. Other famous people, Tim Allen. I did a movie with Tim Allen. Did a movie with John Savage from The Deer Hunter and The Godfather. Howard Stern. I was on Geraldo's show a couple times. Current Affair, Entertainment Tonight. What's that guy's name? Montel Williams. I was on his show 3 or 4 times. Rolanda, Jenny Jones. Lots of those shows. Telly Savalas. I was a big fan of Kojak. And one night in LA, I went to a hotel and there was Telly Savalas at the bar with a drink. I was surprised he was as short as he was. Jay Leno. I love Jay Leno. I love Jay Leno. He was as nice as could be. The sweetest, most down to earth. Oh, I loved him even more once I met him because he was so cool. I mean, I loved him for his work and his comedic timing and how good he was at what he did. But when I met him and found out that he was such a cool person, oh, I loved him even more. Yeah, that's just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Dated any famous guys? Not really. Most of my life I've been married. Thank you, Anarchy. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, most of my life I was married, unfortunately. I was going to date Isaac Hayes. I gave him my phone number. He lived in LA. I told him when I came back to LA, and he said, yeah, let's go out. So he called me a couple times. But every time he called, I was out on the road. So our paths never crossed, unfortunately. Yeah. You got high with him and Cheech? Oh, God, that would have been a dream. Phil Donahue. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot about Phil Donahue. I would have loved to have gotten high with Tommy Chong. That would have been a dream come true. Yes, you saw that meme too on Blue Sky. The more folks would like religious people, more folks would like religious people if they actually acted like it more often. Yeah, if they actually acted. I have a good friend. He's a retired Episcopalian priest. He lives in Indianapolis. He's in his mid-80s, and we talk, at least once a month. He told me one time, I'm the most Christ-like person he's ever met. I couldn't believe that, considering who he is. I mean, he's an Episcopalian priest. Certainly, he's met lots of religious people in his days, lots of believers, lots of sincere folks. But then I look around at all the hypocrisy I see in the church and everything, and well, maybe so. But I thought it was a very nice thing to say either way. Yeah, it's a shame. That would be a shame that I would be the most Christ-like person, Would love you possibly interview on our channel about your dancing days. Oh, Peep Show Menagerie. That would be fun. Sure, I would love that. Let's do it. Yeah. Every native people in every continent should follow their own traditions and culture, including their own religion. No religion should be forced on anyone. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Native American, for those of you who don't know, aho is our way of saying amen. So, or I believe in what you say, or it sings to my heart. So yeah, I totally get behind that. Absolutely. The colonization, the forced religious conversion, the whole thing, it's just, yeah. Who loves you, baby? Telly Savalas. Yes. Tomorrow, your niece will be 33. Oh, bless her heart. What do I find attractive about girls? The fact that they're soft and that they're soft-spoken. Not always, you always find those that are not. But when I find a woman that I feel is attractive, And again, I'm not a lesbian. I'm not even bisexual. So this is just going out there. It's because they're genuine. They're not afraid to let you know how they feel, that they've been hurt, that they have feelings, that they care, you know. Um, Sometimes guys feel like it's a sign of weakness to be vulnerable and to show their soft side or to show compassion or to let somebody know that, yeah, I went through hell at some point in my life or I did something stupid, you know, and they don't like to share that often with women, whereas women will share that as a bonding. You know, one woman might say, I had a terrible day, I did something really stupid, yada, yada, yada. And the other woman might say something like, you know, I've done dumb stuff like that too. I had a day where I did this, so I can totally relate. I'm sorry that happened to you. But you know, I got over it this way and I fixed it this way. Have you considered that? You know, they help each other and they commiserate with each other. Misery loves company, you know, instead of saying, well, what you ought to do is you ought to do this. Or why did you do that? Why didn't you just do that or something else? I think a lot of men have a tendency to say things like that. And they want to be in authority rather than be on an equal level and say, yeah, I've done dumb stuff like that too. Yeah. And that's what I like about most women. Custer died for your sins. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good book. If you get a chance to read it, it brings up a lot of excellent points. Awesome. Yeah, please get in touch with me on Blue Sky. I would love to do that interview. That sounds like fun. You thought the name sounded familiar. Nana turns 21. Oh, bless her heart. That's a big milestone there. What are you going to do to celebrate? You got any plans? I remember my 21st birthday. That's when I found out I really don't like alcohol. There was all different kinds. And, you know, try a little this, try a little that. How about some of this? None of it. I don't like any of it. Did I ever work with trans? I did not. I did not. I did have some trans friends in theater, though. Um, and around Indianapolis, one night we went to Denny's after work, as we often did, from the Red Garter in Indianapolis. And they had just had a beauty contest for drag queens. I can't remember what it was, Miss Indianapolis, something like that. And these most beautiful women who weren't women were sitting at our table because, you know, we're of a like mind. We're open minded and we all kind of sat together and had some good conversations. And it reminded me of the theater days. I remember, you know, I started doing theater when I was, oh, I guess 12. And I went through my puberty there and teenage years. And um, a lot of the gay guys there helped me learn how to put on makeup, how to pluck my eyebrows, and, you know, basically how to be a woman from these gay guys in theater, you know. And there were a couple trans guys there too. So yeah, I never worked with one. It just never came up. But yeah. Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento. Oh, that was so much fun. I have a couple recordings of some of my Dr. Demento stuff on tape. I'm going to try to get that on digital, you know, into MP3 or WAV file so that I can make a video of it for you. But yeah, that was fun. I couldn't believe he was so happy, so good to me. Oh, that's nice of you, Corey. Thank you so much. You know, it's been a year and a half since I've done a live stream like this. So I don't remember a lot of it, it's taken me a while to remember how to control all this. And I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure how to do the super chat thing and all of that. I do have a GoFundMe that helps me with my medical expenses. And it's usually in the description. Well, it's always in the description to all my videos. So there should be a link in the description down below. But thank you so much for asking. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. I would love to go on TT Boy's podcast. You have asked me this numerous times, and every time it's the same, sweetie. I'll be happy to go on TT's Boy's podcast. But I don't know how to reach TT Boy. I don't know any way to contact him and say, hey, let me on your podcast. That's not how it works. If someone has a podcast, like this gentleman here, they ask a guest if they would like to be a guest. A guest can't say, you need to have me on your show. Put me on your show now. I can't do that. They have to reach out to me and invite me. I can't force myself. It'd be like knocking on their door and saying, hey, let me in. You're having dinner. I want to have dinner with you. Let me in. I want to have dinner. It's not polite. They need to ask me. And if TT Boy would ask me, I'd say yes. But honey, he hasn't asked me yet. So if you've suggested to TT Boy that he should have me on his podcast, and he still hasn't asked me, oh, that's TT Boy's fault. You have to take it up with him, darling. I can't force him to have me on his show. Do I like swords? Yeah. Do you like fantasy? You know, my son, Cochise, he used to be in this thing where they do these fake broadsword fights, and they'd have like jousting and stuff like that. It's fake, but we'd play, and sword fighting, as he was growing up. And one of the things that he was really into was the Robert Jordan books, Wheel of Time. It's fantasy, and it's out now. They're making them into these videos, a series, and there's like 15 different books on Wheel of Time, and it's fantasy, it's swords, and it's bows and arrows, and kind of a King Arthur type, New England type vibe to it, the fantasy. And there's orcs and trolls and magic and all this really cool stuff. Anyway, it's on Amazon Prime. And if you're into swords and that kind of thing and fantasy, you might enjoy this. Again, it's called Wheel of Time. Check it out. It's big budget production. They've done a marvelous job with it. Really cool. Oh, thank you. Glad you like it. Yes, I'm live now. Singular duplicity. I like that. Yes. Oh, thank you, Corey. Thank you so much. I hope to do more live streams. I really do. Like I said, I would like to do one once a week with my body, if it will cooperate with me. Did I have a Native American store in Indiana? I did not own one. No. I like Rest in Peace, Art Bell 2014. Rest in peace. He had a good show. I used to love watching or listening to that as we drive across the country way back in the day, before I was flying around everywhere, before I'd made it big. Yeah, I listened to him. Very nice. Cool to take his name. That's nice. Yeah. I tell you, if you're interested in Native American beads and regalia, things that you can use to make regalia, my favorite is Crazy Crow Trading Post. And they're on the internet now that there's an internet, but I've been buying from Crazy Crow for 40 years. Yes, AM radio, driving across Georgia to California. Yes, I remember driving all across the country out to the middle of Nebraska. Yeah. Mansplaining for a reason. Yeah, you're right. What did I have against working with John Holmes? I didn't like his size. That's too big. I'm not interested in that. I'm sure there's women that find that exciting and fun or whatever. That's not me. I don't want that. And I'm not the only one. There are a lot of women who find that just painful and not something that brings pleasure and not want anything to do with it. That's the first part. Then you get to the man who's attached to it. The guy was a drug addict and not a very nice person to begin with, from what I've heard from other people. Again, I never personally met him, so I can only go by what I'd been told. And when you find out about the John Holmes murders and the death and everything and the drugs, that's not what I'm into. None of it. The physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the whole medicine wheel. It does not jive with mine. Throw it out. Not interested. Cyndi Lauper called, I got to put the glasses on, called Captain Lewis Slug. And so why she stopped appearing with him on TV shows. Great respectful put down. A pity I never lived in LA enough to run into the stars in shops, ordering meals, etc. Those are cool stories. Yeah, it was fun. It really was. It was a good time. It really was. Oh, yeah. Good night, David. Thank you for joining me. I'm about ready to sign off myself. Yeah, he wears hair systems, rumor has. Oh, really? Giant hair at 70, outrageous, but fools people. Mick Jagger being one bold hair guy. Oh, Nick, you're so sweet. Thank you. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I have had a good time talking to you. It's been a year and a half, maybe more, since I've done it. No, it's been more than that. It's probably been closer to 2 years since I've had a live stream. And like I said before, I'd been trying to do this for couple months, one thing after another. And I hope that I'll be able to do this again real soon. Maybe even next week. That would be nice. Let's see. Kit Natividad. I loved her. She didn't care for John either. Yeah, that's the thing. I had also heard that he had issues being able to work because his preference really wasn't for the ladies, from what I understand. So that's another issue because we're talking about the 80s where AIDS was, a big deal and people didn't want to subject themselves to that. Kitten was a wonderful person. I never worked with her, but I saw her show at the Body Shop in LA. She put on a really good show. She was a good entertainer. And she was on one of the dancers that was on the road when I was considering getting into the business. And I found out how much money they made. And I thought, where do I sign up? But a lot of the dancers really weren't doing what I would consider much of a show. Kitten was the exception to the rule. She did a really good show. She really did. Thank you, Aries. Juliet Anderson. No, I didn't. She had kind of retired by the time I got into the business, unfortunately. No, Cottrell, that'd be great. Thank you, MV. Victor. Good night, sweetheart. Thank you for joining me. Why didn't I ever work with Ron Jeremy? Do I think he's faking being crazy? No, he's really lost it. I saw him, I guess it was in 2016. It was after he had the abdominal aortic aneurysm thing, and he wasn't right. He was not right. I mean, he kind of recognized me, but it was like, oh, hi, Hyapatia, hi, but I'm like, hey, you going to the Ponderosa this year? Because every year we would MC the contests at the Ponderosa Sun Club in Roselawn. And it's just like, huh? What? What? Going where? Huh? Didn't register, didn't know what I was talking about. So, yeah, I think that's real. Unfortunately, because all the things that he's accused of doing, he really should be held responsible for, you know. Yeah. And why didn't I work with him? No desire. It just didn't trip my trigger, so to speak. It just didn't do anything for me. She was a good personal friend and you miss her every day. Aw. She seemed like she would be a nice person. Yeah. I'm so sorry, honey. Well, you guys, thank you. I'm glad I got a chance to do the live stream too. And God bless you as well, sweetie. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope I'll be able to do this again soon. And if I do, I hope you'll be able to join me then. Thanks again. Hope you guys all have a wonderful night.